Is consciousness immaterial? Obviously, the answer is yes, no? Actually, this is just a stupid question, and that's why I'm making this video. But it's a question that so many people are asking. Now, here's a question that pretty much nobody is asking. Is air immaterial? And the answer is obviously yes. No. The answer is no. But if we were living as hunters and gatherers, then the air might seem immaterial. What about thunder? Well, that's something that a lot of people actually thought was immaterial, at least up until the scientific revolution. What about light? Are photons immaterial? Well, it would seem that photons are made of inherently different stuff than electrons and protons, but photons are physical. They're just different, so photons are not immaterial. Well, what about all subatomic particles? Is there any subatomic particle that's immaterial? And I think it's safe to say no. What about space itself? What about empty space? If there's a region of space where no physical thing exists, would space itself be immaterial? Well, that's a stupid question. Well, what about time? Is time itself immaterial? What is time? Does time even exist? That's also a stupid question. Well, what about information? I know some theorists posit that consciousness is actually just the manifestation of information processing. And is information immaterial? Well, that's a good question, maybe a topic for another video, but that's not the topic of this video. The topic of this video is whether the flying spaghetti monster is immaterial. Now, obviously, everybody knows that the flying spaghetti monster is immaterial, but also, is consciousness immaterial? That is the question that's stumping a lot of people. And the reason I used all of those silly examples is to demonstrate that a lot of the things that we used to think are immaterial are actually material. But hold on, that doesn't mean everything is material. So what is material? Well, this is what material is. Material is whatever one's science happens to define it as at the time. Period. The definition of material is hopelessly unstable. Therefore, it is lousy and should be discarded from use, save for colloquial uses. Also, the question as to whether consciousness is non-physical or immaterial should also be discarded and forgotten about forever. So is consciousness immaterial? No, that's a bad question. Is consciousness explainable by today's physical sciences? That's a good question. And the answer is no. Duh, the end.